Welcome back to McMorris Prosthetic Services. Today, I want to talk, kind of specifically to new amputees. I've just been reflecting as per usual, and the 13th, November 13th, is 12 years since I amputated. So my accident was on October 30th. Tried to save my leg for a few weeks, and then on the 13th, we decided to amputate. And so, um, from really my birthday's on October 15th to like November 13th is kind of like just a big reflection period for me. And I've been thinking a lot about, again, new amputees and kind of things that I was going through at that time specifically. And there were a couple things that I wish that I knew or wish that I was paying attention to. That's some of, like getting fitted and understanding the process and those types of things, but then also the emotional side of things as well. And I think for me, what was really hard because I had lost my leg at 21, and so I was thinking a lot about the things I wasn't going to be able to do, and thinking a lot about like I can't drive a stick anymore, I can't ride a motorcycle anymore, I can't. What were other things that I was thinking about? I was going through all of those things of like, am I going to be able to do this? And trying to figure out how to do it in my head, but really not having any idea. And over like the next 6 months, I fell kind of deeper into that, focusing on what I didn't have anymore. And, like I've talked about, my whole identity was being an athlete and running, movement. Like my two legs were my identity. And I wish that early on, as hard as it is, I wish that I was more focused on what I do have, what I still had. And as I've gotten better at being an amputee, better at dealing with my circumstances and understanding my circumstances, I realize how important it is to focus on what you do still have. And that is very difficult. It's very difficult to not get into a place where you're sitting there saying like, I don't have my leg anymore. How am I going to be able to do these things? My exhaustion beats me down every single day. How am I going to be able to do what I love to do? If you have kids, I can't imagine how scary that would be if you have kids and you lose your leg while you have kids, or, you know, even now having kids 13 years later is like 12 years later, it's like, dang, this is a lot. And so, I understand that it's easy to fall into those practices of like, this is what I don't have anymore. And it's easy to feel sorry for yourself. But a good way to help yourself out of that is think about what you do still have and how you can do those things. And that's really what I've learned over 11 years. Like, I can still drive a stick, I can still ride a motorcycle, I can still do all the things that I did before and the things that I was worried I wasn't going to be able to do. I can still do those things. Do I drive a stick every day? No, I definitely don't, because I have to move this foot onto the gas, push the clutch in, move this foot off. I'm moving a lot of things, but it is doable. There is like a way to do it. And same thing with riding a motorcycle. Like all of the things that I was nervous about doing or thought that I wasn't going to be able to do anymore, I still can do. And again, I have to do them a little bit differently. But I wish that somebody came to me and said, like, hey, focus on what you do have, focus on the positive. And that was something that I was good at, was focusing on the positive and just continuing to move forward. It was kind of a little bit of a fog for me because I wanted to move forward. I had all these goals, but then I would go home from physical therapy or whatever it is, and probably feel sorry for myself and think about what I don't have anymore and how crazy it is that I'm going to physical therapy. Sorry for the screaming in the background. That I'm going to physical therapy, and having to learn legitimately how to walk again while a lot of my friends are going to college or getting married and doing all the things that like you're normally doing at 21. And I really focused on what I was missing out on, but I didn't really focus on what I was gaining emotionally, maturity wise, and all those things, which really I was learning a better understanding of myself, a better understanding of the world. And not to say that like my friends that are my age that didn't go through this don't have those types of understandings, but I was able to get a very unique perspective because of my experience. And now I'm very grateful for all that I've been through, because it makes me me. And I understand that I am a little different than everyone else, and I have I have unique, tools and skills that like only came because I experienced this at the age that I experienced it, the time I experienced it, and everything else. And so I'm very lucky to have that perspective. But again, I think that for me, a lot of the time in the beginning, I was like, when am I going to feel better about this? And I didn't realize that like you have to actively do that. You have to actively be working on, positive thinking and focusing on what you still can do. And that's again, the reality of things is like you really probably could do whatever you want to do. It just maybe doesn't look the way that you want it to look in your head. It looks a little differently. But like when I snowboard, I look a little different, but I snowboard better than I ever did with two legs. And so it really is just the power of positive thinking goes a long ways. And it is a skill. I've talked about it a ton. It's a skill. Like you can look at things and look at them from a glass half empty or a glass half full. And I'm sure like therapists have techniques or whatever it is. I just like legitimately choose to look at the silver lining. Like, yeah, I lost my leg. Sucks, but I should have died. I should have died 5 or 6 times throughout my life at least, and I'm still here. I still get to do all of the things that I love to do, and I wish that somebody came in here and just told me like, "Hey, it's gonna be okay, but it is hard, and you can do it, but just try to focus on what you can do and not what you don't have anymore." And then the second part of that really is like the fitting process because like I've talked about, I got kind of delayed because I didn't understand the process. And so, if you're sitting in your hospital bed right now, you don't need to know everything about prosthetics. You don't need to look at my reviews and be like, dang, I have to know what he's talking about when he's talking about, stance knee flexion or whatever it is. Like, no, you don't. You really don't. Go to your prosthetist. Your prosthetist is the expert and they will help you get the things that you need. But that is what I didn't understand is like, you have to find a prosthetist. Like there are hospitals and programs that will help you do that, and that's amazing. But I really think that it is beneficial to you as a new amputee to again call all of the prosthetic companies that are in your area and schedule meetings with them and go visit them, go see their offices, or have them come to you if you can't leave the hospital yet, and they should. And if they won't, then they're probably not the place for you, If somebody comes into your room and they just kind of act like, hey, I'm here to help you with your prosthetic. Ask questions. Ask, do you work with the hospital? Are you with the hospital? Or like, do I have an option to kind of look around and see the different companies in my area? And then that way you don't end up kind of pigeonholed maybe into a situation that you didn't understand what you were getting into and maybe at a clinic that isn't right for you. And again, when I've talked about selecting a prosthetist, go watch my selecting a prosthetist video. It's all about the communication and your relationship with the person that's fitting you. It's not about the company that's fitting you or any of those things. It's, can I talk to the person that's fitting me? Do I feel comfortable speaking openly and candidly about that? And that's really all that matters. So that's why I really advocate for like go into the offices, meet the prosthetists, talk to them, see their office, see how they go about things, meet their billing staff, and see all of that stuff, or have them come to you. If you're still in the hospital, they can come to you, call and say, hey, I just amputated last week. I would like to schedule a consultation with a prosthetist and see, if I'm a right fit to be taken care of by you guys. And they'll come to you. But sometimes somebody will come into your room and just like start explaining the process to you. Like, I'm not really sure, are you my prosthetist? Are you with the hospital? Are you with a different company? So just ask those questions. It's okay to ask those questions and it's okay to figure it out. But really, the sooner you can meet with a prosthetist, like if you are in the hospital, I would be calling them. Meet with them as soon as you can. Have them come to you because it's the sooner they can start to get an understanding of your situation and start building up kind of their notes and kind of their game plan for you is going to help with insurance and getting things justified and making sure that you don't have any of those kind of lapses that happen and then you're just kind of sitting around, you're waiting to go do therapy but you can't do it because you don't have a leg or something like that. And so getting out ahead of it and just, again, calling all the offices in your area and scheduling an appointment with them, having them come to you and getting acquainted. And then again, like you don't have to know the vocabulary, all those things. It's helpful. I'm trying to help out that way. But like the most important thing, sorry, the most important thing is getting, introduced to a prosthetist and kind of just getting the process going, even if you're a long ways out from being ready to be fitted. Sounds like I better go help with the baby. So that's it for this week. We'll see you next time. Thank you.